Elon Musk's wealth didn't just grow. It absolutely exploded. But the real story of how he got there probably isn't what you think. It's this wild tale of near-total failure, some incredible all-or-nothing bets, and, well, a secret ingredient that almost never gets talked about. So let's break it down.
Okay, just try to wrap your head around this number. $371 billion. That's the estimated net worth we're talking about here. It's a number so big, it's honestly kind of hard to comprehend. So let's try to put it in perspective.
So get this, his personal fortune, it's worth more than the combined value of Ferrari, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Porsche, and Ford. Yeah, all of them put together. We're not just talking about being rich here, this is a completely different league.
Right. So the big question is, how on earth did this happen so fast? I mean, you think of these old family fortunes built over generations, right? Musk's wealth, it feels like it just appeared out of nowhere in the last few years. To really get it, we've got to go back to the beginning.
Every massive fortune has to start somewhere. For Musk, that starting point, that seed money, came from a couple of huge wins way back in the first dot-com boom.
So first up, when he was just 27, he sold his first startup, Zip2, and walked away with a cool $22 million. Then, just 3 years later, came the really big one. eBay bought PayPal, and Musk's share was about $175 million. Now, for most people, that's it. That's the end of the story. You buy an island. For Musk, this was just the very, very beginning.
And this right here, this shows you the first key to how he thinks. That $175 million, that wasn't retirement money. No way. It was ammunition. For him, wealth has never been the goal itself. It's just a tool to build something even bigger, something way more ambitious. He wasn't saving it, he was aiming it.
And I mean, he wasn't messing around. He took every single penny from that PayPal sale, and he bet it all. He split the entire $175 million between these two companies that, at the time, sounded like pure science fiction, right? A private rocket company and an electric car company. He put absolutely everything on the line.
So these were his two big bets, his twin engines, SpaceX and Tesla. But for a really long, really painful time, it looked less like a genius chess move and a lot more like he just lit his entire fortune on fire.
You have to understand, by 2008, the whole dream was a total nightmare. SpaceX had burned through its cash with 3 rockets in a row literally blowing up. And Tesla? It was bleeding money and was just weeks away from going completely broke. Both of his massive bets were right on the edge of failing. And it's right here, at his absolute lowest point, that the story takes this sharp turn. And it's a part of the story that often gets left out. Just when everything was about to go up in smoke, a brand new investor showed up with some very, very deep pockets. The American taxpayer. Musk's whole brand is built on this idea of the lone genius, the maverick fighting the system. But the truth is, a huge piece of his success story is built on public money. It wasn't just, a nice little boost. For his companies, it was about survival. So how much are we talking about? At least $38 billion in government contracts, loans, subsidies, you name it. That's not a helping hand. That's a foundational pillar holding up the whole empire, especially back when things were looking really bad. And the timing of this money? It's everything. In 2008, right after SpaceX finally gets its 4th rocket to orbit, NASA comes in with a $1.6 billion contract. Boom, company saved. Then in 2010, the Department of Energy gives a nearly dead Tesla a $465 million loan. These weren't just nice-to-have bonuses. These were lifelines. It's something even his biggest rivals picked up on. Back in 2016, Jeff Bezos, his main competitor in the whole space race, reportedly told his own team, Elon's real superpower is getting government money. That tells you just how big a piece of the puzzle this really was. Okay, so his companies were saved, they were fueled up with both private investment and a whole lot of public cash. Now the stage was set for the main event, the absolutely jaw-dropping explosion of his personal wealth, pretty much all of which happened in just the last 5 years. I mean, just look at this. In 2012, he's worth a few billion, okay? By the start of 2020, he's at $70 billion. Super rich. But then, look what happens. The line just goes straight up. He blows past $300 billion in less than 2 years. Almost his entire fortune was created in that tiny, tiny window of time. Seriously, that jump from $70 billion to over $370 billion in just 5 years? That is one of the single fastest, biggest accumulations of wealth in all of human history. So what in the world happened? What caused that insane spike?
The answer really comes down to one word: Tesla. The company finally cracked the code on making electric cars for the masses and doing it profitably. That proof, plus this huge global excitement for EVs and Musk's own personality, it sent investors into a frenzy. The stock shot up over 1,100% in 5 years, and since almost all of Musk's wealth is tied up in Tesla stock, his net worth just went into orbit with it.
So what's the big picture here? What's the main takeaway? Well, Musk's journey basically gave us a whole new blueprint for how these massive mega fortunes are made in the 21st century.
You know, the old school path to becoming a billionaire, the Warren Buffett way, was all about slow, steady, patient compounding over a lifetime. The Musk model is the total opposite. It's about going all in on these huge, high-risk, world-changing ideas, using public money as a kind of safety net to survive the early days, and then just riding this incredible wave of investor hype to a massive fortune built almost entirely on stock value.
And that leaves us with this really big question to think about. See, Musk's story isn't just about him. It's about a new formula for getting rich. A formula that mixes crazy risk-taking with government funding with public perception to create wealth faster than we've ever seen before. And it makes you wonder, what does it mean for all of us when a single person's fortune can actually grow faster than the economies of entire countries?